welcome you guys all out. Like to welcome you guys all out today to our Super Sleuth seminar on family search. Bill Winfield is going to be teaching it tonight. I'm very excited to have him here. And if we could have, actually, I'll say the opening prayer. So, our Heavenly Father, we are very grateful for all the blessings that Thou hast given us. We pray that Bill will have the Spirit with him, that he'll be guided and remember all the things that he has prepared this night, so that he will be able to present it to us in a manner that he has prepared, and that we will all be able to remember all the things that he's teaching us tonight, so that we can apply it to our family search and our genealogy research. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. So I will turn the time over to him and his lovely wife, who is going to be assisting him.
This is where you want me to stand, Brother Hen? Okay. Trelene asked me to talk about is, tell me the title again, Trelene.
Teaching family search to your family.
Family search, teaching, but getting your family involved with family search. And so it's really good to be able to talk about the Family Tree, Family Search website, because it is the largest free website for genealogical work, and for me it's the easiest one to use. But specifically what we're going to talk about tonight is using the app that's on your phone, because that's an especially effective way to what do you want me to do?
Just put your phone down.
Put my phone down for a minute. Thank you. Because the app is a great way to get people involved, and there are a lot of activities here. And so what I'm going to do here is different than most any lesson or talk I've ever given. I don't have an outline. And so we're going to interact and talk about some of the different activities and things we can do, and see how that goes. And then for introduction, this is my wife, Emma Regalado, and our experience on the app here, as I'll explain to you, is a little different, because I've been a member of the through my family. My family have been members of the church since Oliver Calvary on my mom's side. Emma hasn't joined the church yet; she's still Catholic, and so she has a different version of the app. She has. And so there are different things available to her, and we're going to show how they both work and some of the activities. So how many of you have used the Family Search app before? Is there anyone that hasn't? Okay, well, you don't care. I'm sure that all of you know some things about this that I don't know, because when you go to the Family Search website, there's so many different directions, and you can spend hours going into things. And the main difference between the app and the website is that it looks a little bit different, and aren't quite as many areas you can get lost in on the app as there are on the website. There's a lot more resources on the website than there are on the app, but the app is powerful and fun, and there's a lot of things to do. So what I'd like to do, and you guys can follow along with me, but since everyone here probably knows how to find the app, maybe I'll just go to the very beginning here. So if we find the icon here. Sorry if I'm too basic here, and then we get to the Family Tree website here. And then on the lower right-hand corner here, where it says More, there are a lot of different things that you can do here. And so, since I see a lot of you with your phones on, that's great. One of the favorite things we do in priesthood all the time, where we talk about is we choose relatives around me. In fact, why don't you do this too, Emma?
What if we turn out to be related?
Yeah, we might. Okay, so I see here that I'm related to Daylene. She's my ninth cousin.
You're even closer to Princess Diana than
You know, and I'm related to Cheryl Sir's I assume that Sir Cheryl is Cheryl, my 10th cousin, and Trelene's a 10th cousin. I'm not related to Emma, except that we're married. And this is amazing, I'm not related to Joan Bean. That's somewhat surprising.
I went to Salt Lake City to Roots Tech. 6,000 people there plus.
Both of us.
I wasn't related to anyone.
Me neither.
And the other people were related to 500 and 600 people.
And so where are you from? Where
Well,
you?
I'm the first member. I was born in New Jersey. My family's Irish,
Uh-huh.
English, and German.
Okay. Well, so that brings us to a
Well,
So-
I can't find that.
you can't, okay.
Okay, John.
So go in the lower right-hand corner. There's 3 bars here where it says more. That's how I got here.
And you just download it, and just like that. And it should be ready.
I hit the App Store to try to find it.
Oh, you don't have the app loaded on your phone yet? Okay,
I just
well,
tried to load it, and it's still loading.
it's still loading. That'll take a while, and the internet's not super fast here.
Right, very slow.
Okay, but so we did relatives around me. Then we got here. Map my ancestors, and this one I might have Emma do it because hers will be more interesting than mine. But and I'm going to turn it sideways here.
Okay, which map? Map my ancestors?
Maybe I won't.
So map my ancestors.
So Map My Ancestors shows where, some of my ancestors came from. I got a lot in Utah, but then a lot in New York. And then, and it will tell you, so if I choose one of these here, like they're in New York, it gives me a choice of some of the people, like Abraham Winfield from New Jersey. I thought maybe he'd be really,
Yeah,
yeah.
these are related.
Evelyn?
Could I take this to the Netherlands?
Yes.
Where did you find this map?
Where did I find it?
Yeah.
If you can go back to this screen right here, where it says Map My Ancestors. Did you find it?
Yeah.
But that says it.
Not, no, it says not really.
Oh.
Now, map my ancestors.
So if I look at Map My Ancestors, and Evelyn asking if I could go over to the Netherlands, and if I can, let me go across the pond here, and over here,
Nobody.
I don't have any ancestors in the Netherlands. I seem to have a lot, and my ancestry is pretty boring. When you go on my Ancestry.com with our DNA test, shows I'm 93% Scotch and English. But I have some Northern European ones, which I'm pretty sure, and I know some of them actually did live in the Netherlands there. And so if we put, Dirks and Evelyn's up there, they're going to have a bunch there close to Rotterdam and Utrecht. I mean, did you guys live in Utrecht when you were?
Yeah, well, in that province.
In the same province, and the mission home is right by there. The mission home is near Zeist, between, what's that? Hilversum? Hilversum was where the mission home was, yeah. So anyway, sorry for diverging here on the Dutch thing. So,
You're my 13th cousin.
that's always fine, looking at the relatives that are around you. Let's see if who else is on here. I'm not related to Dirk. I feel like I'm related to Dirk. Okay, then, actually, Emma, why don't you come here and show us where your ancestors came from? Okay, so while it'll take a minute to connect, because we disconnected there, the title of this talk was how to involve your family and family history. And so one of the things that we did is I made these little family history books for Emma's family. So they had a free webinar that I could do through Family Search on doing Mexican genealogy. And so I did a book like this, one for her mother and one for her father, and they're very basic. Ancestry has better graphics, but I just used the free pages out of Family Search, and I gave this to her mother. And did your mom like this?
Oh, she loved it. She loved it.
And as a result of that, it caused a lot of people, people were asking questions and wanting to get involved with that. And then we did it slightly differently. The next year I did one for her kids. Made a booklet for her daughter, but then when it came to my house, we put it up on a screen, and for her kids, they naturally they said, well, where'd you find this? And I said, well, all you have to do is get this app on your phone. And so now her sons have the Family Search app on their phone, and they're doing a lot of these things. Okay, so here's Emma. So let's show where, expand the map and show where you're the other way, make it bigger. Zoom out. Okay, so choose one of your ancestors, one of these numbers down in Mexico. Press on maybe the 8 and see who's. Okay. Now just put your finger on the blue 8 there.
6?
Or 6, yeah.
That means there's 6 of them, 5 of them there.
Okay, so you have 5 of them in Mexico City, and then let's go down here and click on one of them. So there's her mother, and then her grandmother.
Wait, so my mom and my grandmother, yeah. My great grandmother is Rosalia. Socorro is my grandmother.
So Rosalia is your great grandmother?
That's Sophia, the one that died.
This one right here?
Yeah, but I guess Rosalia was her real name. Okay,
Okay, click on that.
which one?
Rosalia. And so this shows, where Rosalia lived. So she died in Mexico City, but she was born in this smaller town here. And there again, that's all on Map My Ancestors. Okay, then let's go a little further. Let's go to
You want to see the one
X.
from Camarillo?
Yeah, show that. Well, yeah, we'll get to him a different way.
Okay, so what do you want to do now?
Do I need X out of that? And then let's go to family history activities. Now the family history activities, Brother Hen, will it be better if I stand on that side, or are we okay with doing it where we're doing it? Okay. So, how's that? Okay. So let's scroll down to on family history activities. Now, the choices, I have a member account. She has a regular account, and so she doesn't have as many. We get more activities on a member account than you do on your pre-member account. But let's go here to. Well, let's do World War II service records first. See what, for these to work, you need to have some information inputted. So here's Bonifacio Monares. How do you pronounce it? Monares. And let's click on View Relationship. And so,
So there's my father.
yeah, so he's a third cousin, twice removed. And then if you, let's go back to him, that Bonifacio. We'll go ahead and click on him, and we'll look at what sources are available for him. Okay,
Sorry. Oh, here it is.
okay, and then right here where it's got sources, you can click on sources. And so and right here will be his enlistment record. So do view source.
Which one?
This one right there.
View it then?
Yeah, let's look at it. So this has been indexed, so this gives us all the information. We could actually look at the document if we wanted to, but it shows here that he enlisted in 1945 in El Paso, Texas, in Panama Canal Department. He was a citizen.
And his race was others.
Okay. Okay, so then let's go to another activity here. So go back to the activities page, which you can probably get too fast. Oh, you're getting there.
Oh, I can't do one.
Okay, that works. Okay, so let's hit activities again. And then there's one here, where am I from? Oh, that's the one we...
Click on that.
Yeah.
See if it comes up this way.
Okay, so most of her ancestors seem to come from Spain, and then there's a modem here where you can see how they got here. Let's see if we can find that one.
We have to sign in every time we switch.
Yeah, it's strange.
Mine, there's an option that says to stay signed in for 2 weeks,
Oh,
and so I clicked on that. I just downloaded this last night, so it's a learning process.
Okay, so why don't you go over to the
I guess it says I started over here with Miguel Woodybody.
yeah, but I wanted to find the you can pick one of those, and it'll show Miguel Uribari's journey to where he came. Or there's so many activities that might not be the right.
It just shows how when he was born in Spain.
Okay, well, let's do the one where it was doing the arrows on the map that we were looking at earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get to that.
Okay, right here where it says immigrants, choose immigrants. And so this will show, this is going to show how our family immigrated.
How do you find it?
And then press on the 2 there. So a lot of Emma's family,
This is on my dad's dad.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
But it's not the right one.
Which one do you want to see? Oh, it does show his journey.
Yeah.
Which, when I clicked on it, it shows
Yeah.
how he went from
Yeah, so so go
Mexico.
get Emilio's.
Bolivia.
So what? Because he'd had a longer journey, so I'd like to show
Mhm.
that one. And she's immigrant. And pick one of the ones that down in Mexico.
Mexico, or I thought you
Yeah.
wanted to see the one who lived in Camarillo.
I want to see how he got here. So we started in Mexico and it showed his journey.
Mm. This one?
I don't think so, but he's-
This is Ricardo.
yeah.
And this is Emilio.
There he goes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is her great uncle Emilio Regalado Chaparro, and show his journey here from Mexico up to. Chihuahua, and then click on his family sheet to show a little bit about him. Okay, so he was born in Chihuahua, where all your dads came from, and that was in 1870. Then in 1920, he was living in Camarillo. And we have this interesting document that we found about him. This is a letter from the 1920s where he wanted to go on a trip from Camarillo down to El Paso, and he was borrowing a car. And so to prove that he was legit and had the right to drive this car, he had this notarized letter from the Rave Mercantile Company on Ventura Boulevard in Camarillo.
Which that building is still there.
The building's
Oh.
still
I think
there on
it's
Ventura
actually now
Boulevard.
it's a
Dated
tequila place or
1927.
something.
Giving him permission to drive his car from Camarillo down to El Paso, so that people would know that he hadn't stolen the car.
I think the guy, the owner of the place was Max Riave. That's his building there. It's weird. I found this in like my mom's papers when I was a little girl, and I thought it was so interesting. And it has folded marks because it was folded up small, and I just kept it as a kid. And when I grew up, I started like investigating it, and so my kids had it framed and everything. And then when I met Bill, we did more research and found out where that building was, and so yeah.
Okay, so let's go to some more activities here.
You wanna do it on yours now?
Yeah, I'll do it on mine now. Thank you, Emma. But before we move on from her ancestors, I want to pass two others interesting. This is her direct family when they immigrated from Mexico in the 1960s.
So it's my grandmother.
From her mom's side.
My grandmother, her brother, her baby brother, and then my grandmother's 8 kids. When they got to the United States, all my
Oh,
grandfather decided to
Fantastic.
flee.
And then explain this picture to them, Pat.
Oh, nice.
And this is, I can't remember her name right now, but this is a female from my family. She was living in Mexico, and she used to visit her husband while he was in the Pancho Villa's army. And so she dressed as a man so that she would not be harassed. It was a group picture, so you can see where they were edited out. You see like a ghostly hand on
Oh,
her
yeah.
shoulder.
Did you just get these from like your family?
Yeah.
That's so neat. She's pretty.
Okay, so now we're back here on mine, and you'll see on these family history activities, mine, like this one, is famous relatives. Here, if you've got a lot of work done, once you start, you all know this, but family search has dead people. And so the hardest part sometimes if you're starting your family history is do your 2 or 3 generations of people that are still alive, where you have to actually talk to them and get the information. But then once you get it in, and a lot of people have inputted information, then there's just all kinds of information. So that on this one game here, famous people you're related to, most of you, if you plug this in, are going to find out that you're related to a lot of U.S. presidents, and you know, oh, here Katharine Hepburn and Bing Crosby are relatives. How am I related to Lucille Ball? She's an eighth cousin once removed. But they have, this is organized by, you've got leaders that you can be related to, then it goes down a little further and you've got, yeah, and here's my cousin Diana. I bet a lot of other people are related to her too.
I have two. Inspiration. They're from the state of mind.
But you can do celebrities, actors, all kinds of people on that famous people thing that a lot of you will find out that you're related to. And then this one, the kids like, and All About Me, these are pretty generic things here, where it'll give you the origin of your name, who shares your name, you know, what was happening the year you were born. So that one's, but these are all things you could do with kids as an activity. And then I found that the young people like this one a lot. This compare a face to your relatives here.
And then somebody would have had to enter a bunch of pictures somewhere, right?
For this one to work, you had to have had people in the memories section to add some sources and things. Sorry, Brother Hen, every time I turn this over, it goes to do it sideways. I seem to lose into a different place here. Okay, so here's I'm going to use this image here. And remarkably, I look 37% like my dad. But so in my case, I've got a lot of relatives with pictures up there. And so I can, you know, pick one of the other ones, and I look 17% like my great-grandfather. 16% like Abigail Cadwallader, who was my second great-grandmother. But there again, that's an activity and a way to involve people. There's a lot of these on there, and I'm guessing a lot of you have used this before. Well, this is unexpected. Okay. Okay, then this one is very much like just a little game here. Emma's came out better than mine here, but so why don't I choose English here? I'm going to allow it to. You can do it right here while you can add a picture, and then it shows a picture of you. And this one I'm 32% English. Actually, by DNA, I'm 91% English, but according to where my ancestors lived, in Family Search, I'm 32% English. And Emma's picture came out a lot better when she did this. Then here's a fun one. This one also works better if you've had a lot of things entered, but they give you a little quiz about your ancestors.
Oh, who's who?
You know, so here's this one. Which of your ancestors is this? Well, I don't know which one this one is. That's not. I know it's not Alden. I know it's not Smith. So I'm guessing that might be Abigail Cadwallader, my second great-grandmother, and it shows the relationship. So it's on my mother's side.
Still incorrect.
And going back here to the quiz here, it'll take you through a lot here. You know, this one's kind of easy because this is a tombstone. And this one's Orville Sutherland Cox, who lived in colonial Juarez and had a different kind of experience with Pancho Villa than Emma's ancestor did. So that's something you can have a lot of fun with, especially this one. A lot of these activities on here, some of them work better if you have a lot of stuff entered in already, and some of them work fine regardless. And the in-home activities here, these are games and things that you can do with your family, like at a family activity, a family home evening. You know, like this, there's one to make a time capsule, you know, or figure out where I'm from, but these are basically just games that you can play. You know, or possible activities you could do. Then, let's see, Ancestor Challenge. We were just doing Ancestor Challenge. We did World War II service records. Here, since I have the member version, I can get Ancestors Temple records. And then here, I can find out where my ancestors went on missions. And so here's my grandfather.
How did you find that?
Okay, let me go back here. We can get to this screen at the activities, and there's one called Missionaries. So if you go to the one here, Family History Activities,
Oh, okay.
and then you scroll down until you get to, right after Temples, you get Missionaries.
Oh, now it's working.
And so you click on this, and I can see which of my ancestors went on church missions and where they went. And so here's Rex Rollin Brown, that's my grandfather. And just after the turn of the century, well, I'll view him. The church here has the date that he went on his mission and where he went. So he was born in Kanab. And here's a picture of him on his mission. And I have another picture of him on his mission. I have his missionary journal. And here's a picture of all the missionaries in the Southern States mission in 1903.
I know, I was gonna say that.
Well, let me see. It said he was 24 when he went on his mission. And to raise money for his mission, you know, he lived in southern Utah. And so he rounded up wild horses, which he drove to St. George and sold to raise money for his mission. And then he paid for all his tracts and handouts and took a train to Baton Rouge. And when he got to Baton Rouge, someone was supposed to be there waiting for him. But there wasn't no one was waiting for him when he arrived. There were just directions to go find his house where he'd find his companion. And so he started walking, and it got dark, and he realized he was lost. So he stepped aside into a sugarcane field and knelt down and prayed. And he came out and he felt a lot better after he prayed, and he went and got on the dirt road and kept walking again until he came up to a house that had a light on it. And he, with a little bit of trepidation, he decided to go up to the door, because it wasn't too long before this in the South when Mormon missionaries were being tarred and feathered and harassed, you know, because, you know, Mormons and Catholics and Jews, you know, were unpopular in the South. And so he knocked on the door, and a bearded man came to the door with a shotgun. And he said to him, "Are you a Mormon missionary?" And my grandfather figured his time had come, and he stood up straight and said, "Yes, sir, I am." And the guy said, "Well," put his gun down and said, "Well, good, I'm your companion." And so if you look in the picture there, there's one missionary with a full beard. That was his companion with the shotgun. That
I hope you recorded that in the memories, section of the, family search.
well,
That
that's
story is
one of the things
great.
I need to
You
do
need
is
to do
is,
it. It's
is
a fabulous story.
I have his written journal, his handwritten journal,
Okay.
and it's in there. And
It's in
so,
there?
and then here's his uncle and other relatives that went on missions. So that's one activity there, and then and this is one that's also available to members of the church. You can look at this, and you can see if any of your ancestors were in Nauvoo. You know, so this is an ancestor of mine that was in Nauvoo, Lucy Diantha Morley, and her father was Isaac Morley, who and if you see her history, she was born in Kirtland in 1815, and then she came across the plains and she died in Orderville at age 93. But when she was in Nauvoo, she was aged 24 to 29. Okay. What?
I have a Zoom meeting, sorry.
Oh.
Then and then the next activity down from that, we did missionaries, we did Nauvoo, ancestors' headstones, and you'll find probably some headstones in here that you didn't know you would find here. You know, but here's Thomas Sibley, and he's my great-grandmother's father. So this makes him my second great-grandfather, and he joined the church in England, and he's buried there in southern Utah. But then so this is interesting. This is one we looked at earlier. This is the one that Lucy Morley, and there's her tombstone that's in Orderville. And then after headstones, you've got historical records. So if you go in historical records, here again, I'll just pick one at random, see what they... And so in this case, it's just a census record from New York from 1829. This would be someone on my dad's side. Then the next activity, going down here, you have pioneer ancestors. And so this is pretty cool. It'll show, in this case, ancestors that came across the plains, and it will show, you know, what year they came across and what party they came across in. So like this, Mary Elizabeth Allen, she was born in Clay County, Missouri. Let me see. Oh, here we go. So like William Abaya Brown here, it says that he traveled with Company Unknown in 1853. I mean, this one, Abigail Cadwallader, she traveled with the Levi Stewart freight train, departed in 1853, and she was 56 when she departed, and it took her 88 days. You know, and this guy, Orville Sutherland Cox, he was in the Charles C. Rich Company in 1847, so that was one of the early companies during the first year. So that's, and I think a lot of you will be surprised. I knew that I had some ancestors that came across the plains, but I didn't know how many came across in some of those early years. Then the next one after that, this was a good one, Women of Faith. So this, so Margaret Webster, and I discovered her story, and this tells about her pioneer trek, who she traveled with. And one of mine, I forget which one was, that shows that she was an early member, an original member of the Relief Society. And there was a nice picture, and or like this one, this would be one of my grandma's cousins, and it talks about her early mission experience. She went on a mission to California in 1928, and then died in St. George. And she's got this missionary photo, very 1920s. And then going back here to these activities again. Then we've got World War II service records, Joseph Smith papers, World War I draft cards. There's my grandfather again, his World War I draft card. And these are on my mother's side, but it shows we went to the sources, the actual draft card will be in there. And here's the image of it. Well, I can't show you the image, but from this angle, the image is there. I just can't make it big enough for you.
Excuse me,
Yes.
I don't have a lot of those that you said.
They might not be signed in. You might have got yourself signed in.
Okay, so once you've loaded the app on your phone, you have to also sign in, and it would be the same password that you used. It would probably be,
Okay.
in my case, to keep.
Mine says sign out.
Oh, so you must be signed in.
Every once in a while, another one pops up in there.
Let me look.
Okay, sure, thanks. Here's my activities.
Okay, so a lot of these are here.
Mhm.
They didn't have the temples.
Oh, you know why?
Mhm.
That is because you have the regular one. This isn't the member. When you signed into the app, you didn't get the member account. So if you get the member account, you'll have more choices.
Oh, so should I start over then? I mean, later.
Okay, Bill, how do you get the member account?
When you first sign in,
I didn't do it right at first either.
when the first time you download the app, it will ask you you're doing the member account, and then you log in with the same.
So you can take off the app and put it on.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to take it off and then reinstall.
Probably.
Okay. Go to the App Store.
But
I don't have all of them either, but
I have the temple down here.
well, you got
Yeah,
my
I mean-
ancestors' temple.
Yeah, just, I know, I just got off of it now. But down here I have temple stuff.
Oh, well then.
I know with her, when we were looking at some of those things, and I had it on mine, she didn't have it on hers. At the top of that, it had logged her out. And so at the top of the family history
activities page,
So you might,
to the three dots,
I bet if you log in,
and logged in again.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I had to do.
then you'll have a lot of those.
So try that next to the.
And then, so I think we've done most of these now. Sorry, I keep forgetting that Brother Hen's trying to make a video of this. I don't know if it's going to be worth watching. But. So I think we've gone through all the activities here. There are a couple more things I'd like to show you on the app here. Does anyone have questions about any of these activities we've gone through?
How do you get back to the original genealogy chart of your family?
Well, one way you can do it is to okay, when you're at this website right here, right there on the bottom, you'll have your tree. So if you look at the toolbar on the bottom, you've got tree on the far left side, and then you got the more thing right there. So if you click on tree, then this is how I get back to my only wants to go right side up or vertical. But there, can everyone? While we're doing that, why doesn't everyone go to their tree? And then if we look at the toolbar along the bottom, the second thing there where it said, see where it says task? There's a little check mark on the bottom right here. And this is similar to what you have on yours, but what I really like about this is this lets you do family history work wherever you are. So I click on task there, and it's giving me a bunch of reminders of things that I need to do for my ancestors. So I click on this first one here, and then you see the little blue icon up there by her name. I click on that, and here's a grave index, something that I should attach to the source. So first I compare it and see if it looks like her. And this is on my dad's side. My dad has these Linsleys, and Susquehanna is where they lived. So I'm going to compare this. I press the compare button. And so it's comparing the information from this Find a Grave index to the family tree index, and showing some things that are different. The birth date is slightly different. The death date is the same. And the location is right, so I'm going to do add here. It looks to me like it's that it's the right person. It's useful information. So I scroll down here to the bottom and I do yes attach. And so now I just attached a source to my ancestor, and I could have done that in the doctor's office when I was waiting for my appointment, and I could do it, when I'm waiting in line somewhere. You can do a family history search wherever you are. You have this whole computer here with you, just using the app. So those are the tasks. And then you can choose temple down here, and I'll show you ordinances that if you might have reserved for people, or things you need to do there. So there's temple work that you can do, and you can use this also to reserve. If there's someone you want to do an ordinance from, you can reserve it right here. And then if this is attached to a printer, you can actually print the slips with you to take down to the temple. And then I'm going to go back here to the more section right there. And the very last one down here is messages. How every time you attach a source or create a record in family history, it shows who entered the name, and so your name shows there that you contributed a name or something. And so then people start writing you. So I've got a bunch of these messages here, Like, here's a message I got from some of Emma's cousins in Mexico, and they wrote me in Spanish asking about how I got some of these names and stuff. And I used the translate function, and was able to respond to their question. And so you're going to using this message function, you're going to find a lot of people that are interested in the same lines you are. And there again, you can do it right from your phone. So we did messages, family history activities, you know, like, or this one, you've seen my contributions. So you can see here by year. So I should have been busier during the COVID years. I was busier the year before, but it shows how many you know, records you've contributed to by sources, shows memories you've created, and number of persons that you've made contributions for. So there's just a lot of stuff here that you can do. And hopefully, in my experience, these are things that you can introduce younger people to, and they'll, and the spirit of Elijah will take over, and they'll have the bug, and they'll be involved in doing family history work, but they won't do it the same way we did it or our parents did it. You know, one of my earliest memories as a child is going to the family history library with my mom and her sister up in Salt Lake, and carrying them back boxes of microfiche where they could look, and I'd be, you know, running back and forth all the time. Well, things have changed a lot now, because we can get more on our phone here than my mom and her sister could get in a whole day at the church library in Salt Lake. So we live in wonderful times, and there are wonderful things to do here. And part of the blessings of doing all this is you have these, you'll find yourself connected to people that are alive, not just your ancestors, but you're going to find connections to people that are alive and doing family history work on related lines. So did anyone have any questions about this, or anything that you know about this that I should know about using this app or any of these activities?
One things I like about the messages, you can also get messages when ordinances have been completed. So that when I send slips down with the youth to have baptisms, I know exactly which ones got done. And I think that's great.
Where does your message come?
It comes in the messages section.
This messages section right here, you'll just start getting, there's, when you set up the app, there's a box to check that you accept messages from people that are working on your lines. Then you'll get messages from other people that are contributing or have questions about things that you've contributed.
Mm-hmm.
But when you reserve an ordinance, then you'll also get a message on here
If I
for
do the
that.
ordinance myself, it's recorded before I even get home from the temple. I mean, they've already done it. It's already up on my app, so it's great.
So any other comments or questions or ideas or suggestions?
It was fun, I just have to work on it.
Well, it is fun, isn't it?
Practice it. Mhm.
There's
A lot of places I've never been on this app, so that's great, very helpful.
There's so many places to go. It's hard. Dirk?
Now, if I wanted to search for more of my relatives, I probably want to go on my desktop close to my app, right? Because sometimes, like, because of where some of our relatives are from, we're running into a stone wall because they're just not there.
Well, that's interesting. You should say that. It's certainly easier to type on your desktop or your laptop, but you can do almost all the same things right on your phone on this app. So I just chose the first one there, search historical records here. And Dirk, why don't you give me the name of your grandfather?
My grandfather,
Uh-huh.
just like mine,
Okay.
Dirk Frederick. It's Frohwein, the last name is Frohwein, F-R-O-W-E-I-N.
F-R-O. Frowen?
Frovain, W-E-I-N.
Oh, yeah, okay. Is that right? Frowijn?
I think I've been, my eyes not that.
F-R-O-W-E-I-N? So in Dutch, when there's two vowels together, the second letter is the one it pronounces, so it's the I, so it's Frowijn.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And then what's a place that he lived in?
Utrecht.
Where?
Utrecht.
Utrecht? Do you know what year he was born?
I can go down to my, pull up his record, yeah.
Well, that's okay. We'll go based on what we have, but first I need to spell Utrecht correctly. Oh, there we go. Spell correct is there for me.
No problem.
Let's just see if we get lucky here.
It should be there.
Okay, so these are different ones. This is a Dirk Fernay and a Dirk Fernay, but they're from Utrecht. Okay, how about this one, Robert Frowijn from California. You know, in my experience, you can find most of the same things on Family Search. Sometimes you find something on Ancestry you don't find on Family Search, but generally I find Family Search easier to use for me.
When you have to pay for Ancestry, right?
Well, that's Ancestry is I think it's like $9 a month, but when you sign up, if you ask for the church account, you can get it free. The church has an arrangement with Ancestry,
Really?
so you can have a free Ancestry account, but you have to ask for it.
And so-
I paid for it for a year before I figured out that I could get it for free.
And
So I was dumb.
Where
Now you can get it at home. You don't have to just come in and have it here.
Right.
You know, if you remember, and there's a link outside.
And then you put like your membership numbers.
No, there's just a URL, a website outside. It's right up on my bulletin board.
It's not exactly the same databases in it as the World Deluxe one, but it's free.
Yeah.
So that's very fun.
Now, what if you find information that's inaccurate?
Well, that's not part of the subject, but I'll tell you. But if you find information that's inaccurate,
Okay,
and
it's all new to me, so-
who here has done family history work and has not found something that was inaccurate? No hands. So you're always going to find things that are inaccurate. And some of the things you can correct yourself, and it will prompt you to do that. And you'll get this red little icon that will pop up there, and you can compare them and you can correct it yourself and explain why. But sometimes you can't do that. So, for example, if it's in someone else's.
See, my mother, I'm looking down and my mother didn't have a middle name. My mother would always try to make up a middle name. Well, the made up middle name is on the records, but I know from her birth records that there isn't one, so it's kind of interesting to see it on here.
Well, you could change it yourself, and then and it will prompt you to give an explanation. And Joan
I
can
just think
Joan
that's-
can probably give you a better answer than I gave you.
Alright.
Yeah, I mean, not that I need, I just added my children, which is nice. Add a few of my children.
About the only thing you can't change are memories. If you go in there and somebody's got a picture and uploaded it and named the person and the name of the memory such and so, you can't fix it. Then you could go to the discussions and ask them to.
Well, so Joan, what do you do when one of the ancestors you have there and you're sure it's correct, but you get this message that it's attached to somebody else's line?
What I do is I try to have a discussion with the person, send them a message, this is what I think, rather than just lob it off, and say, not be contentious about it, just try.
Well, and sometimes they're in somebody else's line that's done a bunch of work and stuff too. And you might have.
If you know you're right, you can always, let Family Search arbitrate it for you.
Yeah.
They'll get in and look at your sources and then look at the other person's sources and make a decision.
So what if people end up having dueling ordinances done for them?
Oh,
That happens all
that
the
happens a
time.
lot,
That'll be sorted out somewhere.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
But I've got a few of those in my line where,
I think we all do.
yeah.
That's because, you know, a lot of us have the same relatives and deceased relatives way up the line, ancestors. And so as we're entering our own family trees, there's multiple of our great-great-grandparents all over the family tree.
You know,
Or
and-
names that sound exactly, that are the exact same, you know.
Yeah.
See.
How many Charles Emersons are there?
That's right.
And when you're working on your own line, you're uniquely situated to correct some of these mistakes, because a lot of the things, like when I was doing Emma's, we know how it happens because people are doing indexing, and they're reading through some poor census worker's handwriting, where they've decided this how to spell this person's name, and they did it phonetically, and then some person interpreting that handwriting has to make their best guess of what that handwriting means. But if it's within a few generations, you know the right answer. So when I was doing Emma's work, her grandmother's Socorro, it's in there 5 different ways, 5 different records. And so, so I've corrected it as many places as I could. But at least on Family Search, it's correct.
At least temporarily. Till somebody gets in and messes with it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so it's one of the adventures. But anyway, any other questions about the app and things that we can do with the app? Well, thank you for coming and for being patient with me.
Thank you.
Very helpful.
Very, very helpful.
Very nice.
Actually, I learned a lot.
There's so much.
Thanks, Bill. That was great. I learned a lot too. I mean, I've used the app a lot, especially when I was waiting in line to pick up my kids from school. I'd sit there and play with the app, do some more genealogy. But I didn't know a lot of that stuff, so thank you. Daylene is going to give us our closing prayer, and then we'll be done for the evening until next month, which will be November 10th, second Thursday of the month. And Joan is going to be teaching, which is going to be part 1 of the Research Wiki, which is, you got to be here for that. Anybody who has not been on the Research Wiki or doesn't know anything about the Research Wiki, you need to come.
It's endless.
It is endless. It's like a bottomless pit of Wikipedia information for family history researchers. Great.
Is that gonna scan the globe, or is it just within a particular area?
Anywhere.
It's
It's
like it's an encyclopedia located on Family Search.
I mean, if it's in the internet, it's going to be connected to a wiki somehow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it right here, if that's all right. Dear Heavenly Father, we're so thankful that we could be here and have the Spirit with us as we discuss the Family Search app and all the discoveries that we've made. And we're thankful for Bill and his information, and ask thee to watch over us as we all travel home and say these things in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Amen.